From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aishah Ashraf. Our top story for today: a group of Palestinians from Gaza and the U.S. have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government, accusing it of violating domestic law by continuing to supply arms to Israel. The plaintiffs argue the weapons fuel gross violations of human rights in Gaza and beyond. Lead plaintiff Amal Gaza, a teacher in Gaza, says she lost 20 family members and has been forcibly displaced 7 times since October 2023. Others include Palestinian Americans and the executive director of Halt, a West Bank rights group who cites similar losses. The lawsuit highlights the U.S.'s alleged failure to uphold the Leahy Law, which prohibits military aid to units accused of human rights abuses. It condemns the State Department's inaction amid escalating violations following the Gaza war that began in October. Plaintiffs hope to halt U.S. arms supplies and protect vulnerable families. 20 U.S. Congress members, led by Texas Democrat Greg Casar, have called on President Joe Biden to stop arming Israel due to its blockade on Gaza aid. In a letter to the administration, they cited U.S. laws prohibiting arms supplies if humanitarian aid is restricted. Casar emphasized on social media that the Netanyahu government must ensure sufficient food and medicine reach Gaza. The lawmakers criticized Israel for allowing far fewer aid trucks than the recommended 350 per day. According to the letter, some days saw only 6 trucks crossing, which lawmakers call a massive failure costing lives. The appeal comes amid growing international pressure on Israel to alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The Biden administration has yet to respond publicly. The call underscores escalating tensions over U.S. military support for Israel amid the ongoing war. At least 38 Palestinians have been killed and 203 injured in Gaza over the past 24 hours, as Israeli strikes target the besieged territory. According to Palestinian Health Ministry, Gamal Adwan Hospital in the north came under renewed attack. Meanwhile, supposed safe zones in central and southern Gaza were also bombed. In Deir al-Balah, an Israeli drone strike hit a tent for displaced people, killing 2 Palestinians. Airstrikes in Jabalia Nazla, Beit Hanun, and Al-Daraj neighborhoods resulted in additional casualties, including a child. Witnesses report 2 fishermen were arrested off the coast of Deir al-Balah. Israel has issued evacuation orders for parts of the Burej refugee camp, citing rocket launches. Hamas says a ceasefire deal is possible if Israel stops setting new conditions. However, Israel's defense minister insists on maintaining full freedom to act in Gaza post-war. The UN's humanitarian agency criticizes Israel for blocking aid missions to North Gaza, including turning back 3 food and water convoys. Israel's war in Gaza has killed at least 45,097 Palestinians and wounded 107,244 since October 7, 2023. Last month, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its war on Gaza. The only orthopedic specialist in Gaza, Dr. Saeed Juddeh, has been killed by an Israeli quadcopter strike. The fatal attack occurred while Juddeh was traveling between Al-Auda and Gamal Adwan hospitals to address critical staff shortages. The Minister of Health confirmed Juddeh succumbed to a direct head injury in the strike. This comes just 2 weeks after he survived a previous injury while serving on the front lines of Gaza's strained medical system. Juddeh's death marks a significant blow to the region. Health officials are accusing Israel of systematically targeting Gaza's medical infrastructure. The number of healthcare workers killed in the ongoing war rose to 1,057, further crippling the territory's ability to provide critical care. Many tribes have gathered in Yemen's capital, Sana'a, to protest recent airstrikes carried out by Israeli and American warplanes on Sana'a and Hajjah. US and UK fighter jets launched airstrikes on Sunday, targeting various areas of the war-ravaged country. The U.S. Central Command confirmed it had conducted a precision airstrike targeting a command and control facility operated by Iran-backed Houthis forces in Sana'a. The Red Sea, a crucial global trade route for oil and fuel shipments, has witnessed heightened tensions as Houthi forces target Israeli-linked cargo ships in solidarity with Gaza following intense Israeli attacks since October 7, 2023. In response to escalating threats, the U.S. launched Operation Prosperity Guardian, a multinational effort to counter Houthi aggression. Al-Hudaydah is the most targeted province in Yemen by U.S. and British airstrikes. The province houses an international airport and 3 vital ports, in addition to a long coastal strip. With the intervention of Washington and London and an escalation of tensions, the Houthis say they now consider all American and British ships as military targets. A local court in New York has refused to overturn President-elect Donald Trump's hush money conviction because of the recent Supreme Court rulings on presidential immunity. Manhattan Judge Juan Merchan found the July Supreme Court rulings did not prevent a jury from finding him guilty of unofficial acts after a criminal trial in May. Merchan wrote the evidence presented at trial pertained entirely to unofficial conduct, going beyond the scope of the Supreme Court's rulings. The judge originally had scheduled the verdict for November 12th, but postponed it to consult with prosecutors. In May, Trump was convicted on 34 counts of authorizing a plan to conceal reimbursements to Michael Cohen, his former attorney and fixer. He also was convicted for paying $130,000 to adult film star Stormy Daniels to cover up an alleged sexual encounter. President-elect Donald Trump has filed a lawsuit against the Des Moines Register and pollster Jan Seltzer over a pre-election day poll. The poll suggested Vice President Kamala Harris led Trump in Iowa by 3 points. Trump ultimately won the state by a 14-point margin. The lawsuit filed in Iowa State Court accuses the pollster and the publication of violating consumer fraud laws through deceptive practices. It claims the poll's results were intentionally misleading and requests damages, along with a court order to prevent further deceptive polls. Trump described the poll as fraud and election interference during a press conference. Gannett, the paper's parent company, defended its transparency by releasing detailed poll data. This lawsuit adds to Trump's ongoing legal battles with media outlets, including lawsuits against ABC, CBS, and journalist Bob Woodward. Seltzer and her team declined to comment on the case. Colleges urge foreign students to return before Trump's inauguration. Details come after the break. Stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. Universities such as Harvard, University of Southern California, and Cornell are advising international students to return to campus before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20. They fear a potential travel ban similar to the previous Trump administration. Trump restricted entry from 7 majority Muslim countries, later expanding the list. Cornell's Office of Global Learning cautioned a similar ban might follow his return to the White House, potentially including additional nations such as China and India. Students are urged to be in the U.S. by January 21st, the start of spring semester classes, to avoid being stranded abroad. Colleges also warn of potential border delays and paperwork processing issues. A congressional report warns the climate crisis is significantly endangering the U.S. housing and insurance sectors. With 2023 on track as the hottest year on record and disasters exceeding $1 billion in losses, the report highlights skyrocketing insurance premiums and growing uninsurability in high-risk states such as Florida and California. Extreme weather events now occurring every 3 weeks have driven 2023 home insured losses to $15.2 billion, double the previous year. Premiums rose 11% last year, with Florida homeowners paying an average of $3,547, the nation's highest. Rising repair costs, litigation, and climate risks compound the problem, leaving many underinsured. The report advocates for innovative solutions, including parametric insurance, community resilience programs, and wildfire risk studies, alongside tax credits for disaster mitigation. Without immediate action, it warns, the financial toll on housing and public services will continue to escalate. The U.S. Census Bureau is updating its methodology to include immigrants admitted under humanitarian programs. The effort aims to provide a clearer picture of population trends. The change will be reflected in national estimates due Thursday, but not at the state level. In 2023, the foreign-born population in the U.S. reached its highest level in more than a century. The revised methodology is expected to push that number even higher. The Bureau estimated 1.1 million immigrants entered the U.S. in 2023, significantly lower than the Congressional Budget Office's 3.3 million estimate. Since 2021, more than 5.8 million people have been granted humanitarian parole, often in urgent situations. President-elect Donald Trump has vowed to eliminate such programs, calling them an outrageous abuse. These population estimates are crucial for allocating federal funding and tracking demographic changes in a politically charged environment. Trump appears certain to dismantle humanitarian parole, saying during his campaign he would end the outrageous abuse of parole. Annual population estimates released by the Census Bureau are calculated from births, deaths, migration to the United States, and migration between states. Scotland's first Asian and Muslim leader, Humza Yousaf, has announced he will leave frontline politics in 2026. Yousaf, 39, confirmed he would step down as a member of Scottish Parliament after 15 years, hoping his journey inspires diverse youth to enter public service. In a sharp critique, Yousaf warned of billionaire Elon Musk's growing influence on UK and US elections. He accused Musk of amplifying disinformation and supporting far-right movements like the UK's Reform Party. He also linked Musk to triggering unrest such as Southport's race riots and expressed concerns over his alleged financial ties to US President-elect Donald Trump. Yousaf also condemned the UK government's Gaza stance, calling it complicit in genocide due to arms sales to Israel. Nearly 10 million children across 12 Republican-led states may face hunger next summer, as $1.14 billion in federal funding to alleviate hunger remains unclaimed. The program, also called Sunbucks, provides $120 per child during the summer to buy food. According to the Food Research and Action Center, Tennessee, Texas, and Florida are poised to decline the assistance. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee confirmed his state would not renew participation. FRAC estimates Tennessee families alone would lose $77.2 million in food benefits. Advocates highlight the program's success, bridging nutrition gaps for 21 million children last year. FRAC urges these states to reconsider by the January 1st deadline, emphasizing the critical need for food security during summer months. According to NBC's reporting, advocates say Tennessee has a particularly acute need for the program. The state's topography makes it hard for families to reach food banks or other meal distribution sites. Some communities in the eastern part of the state that struggle with hunger and poverty were affected by Hurricane Helen earlier this year. Sensitive data from the Turkish Quran app used by more than 1 million people has been exposed, raising alarm over potential unauthorized surveillance. Cyber News researchers discovered an unprotected server on August 15th, leaking more than 3.6 million user records. The data included geolocation details, SIM serial numbers, and network identifiers, making users vulnerable to tracking and identity theft. Researchers warned leaked Wi-Fi SSIDs could reveal home addresses, and SIM data might enable real-time surveillance, even during protests. This echoes past concerns such as the 2020 revelation that the U.S. government accessed location data from Muslim prayer apps. The ACLU labeled such practices a threat to privacy and religious freedom. Cyber News researchers say Quran's developers have of late secured the server, but so far, no official statement has been released. Privacy advocates stress the urgent need for stricter safeguards to protect sensitive user information. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.